Welcome back, my friends, to Marvel Snap. Has your climb on the ranked ladder stalled out? Well, then allow me to recommend to you this list. I'm calling it Counterplay. It is putting the reins of being able to climb firmly in your own hands, and we also have a list that is a dramatic upgrade as you reach into Pool 3 that I think is an incredibly competitive list as well. Now, before we break the list down, I want to clarify I'm recommending it not necessarily because I think it is the most powerful Pool 2 list possible, but because it is using so many of these cards that allow you to counter what the opponent is trying to do. It is giving you the most control over the outcome of the match. Being able to anticipate your opponent's moves and then carefully managing the tools that you have to stop them are going to be key for this list's success. So to begin here, we've got the Iceman. On reveal, give a random card in your opponent's hand plus 1 cost. Beautiful control out of the 1-drop slot. We also have the Nova that we are running in conjunction with the Killmonger to be able to propagate buffs across our side of the board, while also with the Killmonger being able to single-handedly stop any of the zoo lists that we go up and face in the opponent's side. Next, we are punching our ticket with some very high efficiency 2-drops. Angela can be played in any list. Queen of efficiency, just keep following up to her location to keep on giving her those stacking buffs. The Scorpion, similarly, play him as early as you can. Plug and play. This is a flex slot. You can run any 2-drop here, but I prefer the Scorpion if he is available. Then we have the Scarlet Witch, able to help level the playing field in terms of the locations that are out there. She can flip some nasty locations to surprise the opponent at the last minute, or she can help take care of something that the opponent is able to get an obviously outsized benefit from, like say they're running an on-reveal deck and Carnage is revealed. We want Scarlet Witch to turn that off as soon as possible so they don't get those duplicated effects. Then we have the Lizard here, just very high efficiency again at the 2/5. Now he has the negative ongoing tag, -3 power if your opponent has 4 cards here. This is handshaking with the Enchantress. We are loving the counterplay out of Enchantress, shutting down Iron Man, Devil Dinos, Blue Marvel. All of these, if the opponent loses access to those buffs, is incredible. The Enchantress is giving us that, but she can also turn off the negative ongoing effect of the Lizard, keeping him at the 2/5 stat line. So we want these to be set up to potentially play together. And then the yin to the Enchantress yang, you have Shang Chi ready to be able to get in and destroy big body cards. So he's taking care of the big bodies. Enchantress is taking care of the big abilities. Killmonger is taking care of the little guys. And that leaves us with our last 3 cards to be able to round out. Morph is the true flex slot in the deck. I like the 3 energy target of the cost of the card. I'm bringing in Morph to be able to take advantage against decks that are running, say, an Apocalypse. We can quite often be able to get the Morph to turn into the opposing Apocalypse. He can also give us a little bit of information about what the opponent is running. You could go up to a White Queen here or a Cable to be able to get more early information. It's the scouting information about what the opponent is trying to do, and that helps you inform what cards are of counterplay that you really want to hold on to. But I'm running the Morph here right now for the slot machine. I think that you want to upgrade away from him later on as you get into Pool 3, but right now he's acceptable. Now we have the Hobgoblin and America Chavez holding down the final slots of the deck. The America Chavez is effectively a mulligan for the deck, ensuring that we're only drawing her on turn 6, gives us better odds of drawing the other cards that we want to combo in the early turns, and then as a 6/9 at finishing power is quite acceptable to be able to get in there and mess up with what the opponent's plan is at the different locations. Now the Hobgoblin, 5-8. On reveal, your opponent gains control of this. He sails over like a dive bomber up against the opponent. He is here to be able to mess up the opponent's plans if it's clear that they are forming a stacked location that is requiring their 6-drop to come in and finish it. Hobgoblin can lock that out, and he's just a powerful swing overall and is able to mess with our opponent in a lot of different ways, clogging up their board space and breaking up the combos that they want to enact. Diving in here to see how the deck runs, I've got the list that I love up above. This is my preferred list based on using as many of the counterplay options as are available at Pool 2. But if you guys want to talk any card substitutions, if you don't have something in your collection yet, or if you want to talk about optimizing the deck, just leave me a comment down below. Read all the comments. Love chatting everything. Snap down there. Let's go ahead and play the Angela. We'll take advantage of the super flow for now. Well, let's see. Interesting. We could go right to the Morph to be able to gain some info off the opponent. And then we could play something like an Angela Lizard together later on. Maybe we do this instead. Oh, they hit us with the Soul Read on the Groot. Oh, it's a nasty. We get the Enchantress. Okay, so we know that the opponent is playing the Enchantress. We also know that they're not going to be able to get value off of that based on our deck. Savage Land. Okay. I had previously been interested in playing over to this side of the board. Now, not so much. I think that we go for... How many cards do you have in hand? 4? Let's go ahead and play Scorp Lizard. The opponent playing the Nova is telling me that they have some hybrid. Now, as I said, so anticipating the opponent's moves is the key to the deck. So I'm going to be doing just a lot of spitballing as to taking the information off the board and then trying to anticipate what the opponent is doing. They've got the Nova here, so they're probably running Killmonger just because that the Nova Killmonger package is so popular right now in Pool 2. We're going to run the Hobgoblin across. That takes away their access to the Superflow, but it still leaves it on our side. It's a beautiful, beautiful option. If the opponent has Carnage, we're a little sad because he can just eat away our 5-drop. But they would also clearly want to play Carnage over to Savage Land to eat up the little raptors and then pop the Nova as well. So I feel fairly strong about this line. If the lizards get split up, we could play our own Enchantress to be able to turn our lizard off. We got this off the morph, so that got played before the lizard came down. We also want to find a nice open space to be able to lay in Angela and stack all the buffs, which is going to be the central location, after the Hobgoblin has already made his journey. And they're leaning right into it with the Mr. Sinister. So this is more Zoo, maybe? Killmonger breaking up the 1-drops, bursting the Nova now. There it is. This is excellent for us. They've decided to self-sequester away from the Superflow. Look at the Iceman. I like it. Interesting, interesting. Do we want the Strange Academy cards shuffling across? I honestly don't, because they could get in and then take away empty locations for buffs on the Angela. So I think we just play like so. And we have the Enchantress plus we're drawing the Chavez. If they show something like a blue Marvel, we would be able to turn that off with the Enchantress. Otherwise, it's just going to be America for us. The gamble on the Gamora. Interesting. Spicy deck with the Killmonger Nova, very powerful control, but then some Guardians splashed in. Intriguing. We're up by 1 now because of the Stark Tower buff, which I love. And then honestly, we can just put America Chavez right here to the Savage Land. My rule of thumb is that if you're looking across the board and you're ahead at 2 locations and you have the ability to flip or tie the other one, I play there rather than try and shore up additional power at the locations where I'm already winning. So we snap, and the opponent has retreated. Victory! Ho ho! Carnage with the Enchantress and the Scorpion in hand. Let's see, we don't have a lot of cards that gain value on the Carnage, but the ones we do love getting played early, and boy do they hit hard. So we'll play the Scorpion and then honestly would hope to cut it off with the, Mindscape, okay. So, now we're going to get dud cards based on what's leftovers in the opponent's hand, unless we play the Scarlet Witch to get rid of Mindscape. Would we want this? It's an interesting question because I really hate playing around Mindscape, but I also would hate for the opponent to get a lot of benefit out of Carnage when our deck really isn't set up to be able to capitalize on it, besides the cards that we have already played, Iceman and Scorpion. We've effectively leveraged all the control that we can, and the opponent is just donezo after that Scorpion. It's so mean. Novaroma giving us an extra card draw, so we've got a ton of options. The opponent does as well, so it's a perfect timing to be able to lay down the Scorpion. Able to hit just an enormous hand size on the opponent's side of the board. What are they going to show us? The Domino. Domino doesn't really tell us anything about their deck. Domino is more favored in control decks, but by no means is it a guarantee. Let's turn off the Mojo World. This deck doesn't really spam out. But then the Mirror Dimension, hang on. Turns it to one of the other locations. Hopefully the Mojo World is just going to be a good location for us now. We'll see. But we don't spam out cards very easily. So Mojo World could be difficult for us to win. We are able to hit their hand, get the Novaroma, yet another card draw. Both players with all the options of their deck at their fingertips. Let's go ahead and let us play the Morph. See what else we can learn about the opponent's deck. They played Punisher, Domino, Punisher. So it's this ongoing synergies. Is it also a control deck? Punisher is not not very common. It could be a Spectrum deck, but then I don't know why they would run Domino. There's other good 2-drops. We get the Shang Chi. They show Namor.
Clear for takeoff.
Okay, so our Shang Chi will be able to deal with that quite happily. So then we just play... Interesting. What do we want to play? It's probably like Angela Killmonger. Break the Iceman, buff the Angela, and then our final play is Shang-Chi Lizard. Be able to keep on buffing that Angela. We lose the Iceman here, but that was the idea. Open up more space for buffs on the Angela. I guess it takes away a buff on the Punisher. That's not... Ooh. Okay. So, we can stop them in their tracks with either the Enchantress or the Shang-Chi. I feel like, I mean, you could go so many different ways. You could go Enchantress and then the Lizard, or you can go Shang-Chi, kill the Namor, and then the Lizard as well. But the opponent has to follow up with something here to be able to win Avengers Compound. And then they're stretching themselves so thin, how are they going to be able to get anywhere else, right? They have a Shang-Chi themselves, but we don't have any available targets. They snapped. Maybe they know something that I don't know, but it looks like we're going to hang our hat on the 8 cubes here. Opponent throwing up the Thanos. There goes the Nova Roma. There goes our Lizard. They show Sword Master. And then Mr. Fantastic. Oh, so close. So close. That's why I love this deck so much. The Pool 3 version of the deck list sees a lot of new faces on the roster, but it still has the heart of the Shang-Chi and the Enchantress to be able to leverage counterplay against whatever kind of tactic the opponent is bringing. We've actually dropped off the Killmonger, and Pool 3 Zoo is not nearly as big of a problem. Instead, we have another nasty type of control deck that is out there, which is board space control. It's called Have Some Crap, pushing a lot of junk in terms of rocks and other useless cards over to our side of the board, and we are using Carnage to be able to clear those away. He can be the trash compactor, gobble up all of these junk cards, and then be able to have open space on our side of the board to keep on playing and executing our game plan. So then everything else around this core of control and protection cards is just very high efficiency. So we have the Hood, a 1/-2, that when you play him spawns a 1/6 in hand. We have to find a way to be able to deal with the 1/-2, but then the efficiency on the Demon is just so high. I absolutely love it. What we enjoy here is that it gives us 2 little 1-drops to be able to play, because we are running Bishop, and the more cards that we play, the bigger Bishop is going to be able to get. We have the 0, a 1/3 on reveal. Remove the abilities of the next card you play. So the 0 is here to be able to cancel out the Red Skull, our big finisher, a 5/15, one of the strongest cards in the game, and he's only a 5 energy cost, but he has a detrimental ongoing ability. Enemy cards at this location have +2 power. We want to deal with this either through the Enchantress or the 0 to be able to cancel out that negative ability. We have the Angela. The Queen of Efficiency is still wearing her crown in Pool 3. As I said, the Carnage. Mysterio, a 2/5. As you play this, illusions to other locations. As you play this, play illusions to other locations. Disguise this as an illusion until the game ends. The illusion is a 2/0. So the opponent is not going to know directly where the real Mysterio is until the very end of the game, but it counts as playing 3 cards in 1, which will all buff Bishop. So it's a nice little efficiency package, and then we can feed one of the illusions to Carnage to make him even larger. The Shang-Chi, the Enchantress Essential. Rescue here, a 4/4 on reveal. If you play a card here next turn, +5 power to the rescue, just makes her incredibly efficient as a 4-drop. Hard for the opponent to be able to keep up with that kind of tempo. Our final 2 cards are Magic, a 5/3. That on reveal will create Limbo, giving us the turn 7. The turn 7 is so nice for us to be able to see what is on the opponent's board and then allow us to react with the Shang-Chi, the Enchantress. It also makes the deck more consistent, giving us an extra card draw to be able to find the key pieces that we want. And then we have the Captain Marvel, 5/6. At the end of the game, move to a location that wins you the game, if possible. So she's giving us a little bit of extra flexibility. I find a lot of use on having Captain Marvel on the list. Wakandan Embassy, buffing our hand. You'll love to see it. We'll play the Hood here. Get our early tempo plays in a line. So we've got the deck list updated up above. This one was actually suggested to me by a viewer on stream. We had a great time testing it out. If you guys subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified when we go live. We mostly play here on YouTube. And it's a great time hanging out. We test new decks. Sometimes we find ones that are absolute gems. This one has given me so much mileage. So I hope that I can do it justice here. We're going to show the Mysterio. Get the flips coming across. Hopefully we find... Now, the illusion is clear to you. You can click on it, and then you see these guys have the little spiraling green effect. That means that they are the illusions. That can help you keep track of who's who. The armor and the Cosmo. So the opponent is playing a destroyer list. Unfortunately, we have lost our Shang Chi. Are they going to play the Deathlock? If we can win the Asgard, it would give us a nice little benefit. Also, this Enchantress is so dirty. Being able to cut off the armor, it very much limits what the opponent wants to do with the Destroyer. They're going to have to play the Destroyer right here to Cosmo. We're also able to cancel off their Warpath here. Now, because they had the Cosmo, they will still be able to play Destroyer right here, but then it's completely telegraphed as to where they're going with it. And we should be able to play around it, at least a little bit. Let's use Magic to extend the game. Do we care about extending the game with Magic? Maybe we don't. Because we could just play the Zero and the Demon, and then drop the Red Skull over here at the Wakandan Embassy. I mean, what's the opponent going to be able to do about it? That will give us the win at the Wakandan Embassy, and if we have good tempo over here at Asgard, it gives us the win there as well. If they drop the Destroyer here to Asgard, then they kill Cosmo and their whole block. They can't possibly recover from that either. Hang on. Order. Order is very important. So it's Carnage here, canceled by the Cosmo. Then it's Demon. Then it is Zero. The Hobgoblin. No, why? Oh, why are you doing this? Why are you like this? It's okay. We can recover. I promise. Red Skull can't zero it out. You snap. What's the opponent going to be able to do? They're not going to be able to win at Asgard. They're not going to be able to win at Sakaar. They invested too heavily to be able to win the Wakandan Embassy. Aha! The Red Skull's gonna go toe-to-toe with the Destroyer, and he wins! Oh, baby. Let's go. Victory! Angela, Mysterio, Carnage, and then the Peak decides that I'm never gonna play Mysterio in this game. That's fine. We'll be able to turn one the Angela. Be quite happy with that. The Mysterio is much better with the Bishop in hand. We didn't have the Bishop, so I feel up. But there. Now we do. We don't know anything about what the opponent is playing. We can either play the Carnage for tempo, or we can just hold. I'm going to just hold. They've got Brood. Okay. Brood tells me that the opponent is probably playing Patriot. Carnage. Interesting. Let's go with the Bishop over here. Now we can happily play the Red Skull to be able to take advantage of the Isle of Silence, naturally canceling out his ability. We don't have to combo with Zero. We don't have to combo with Enchantress. It's just native right there, which is fantastic. So now I go Hood, Carnage. Hood on Carnage is going to create 2 demons, and then Carnage is going to be able to eat them away. They've got the Mr. Sinister. It's all a matter. This Patriot deck is very good. It's considered at the top of the meta right now. But it's all a matter on if they find the Patriot, the Mystique, and the Onslaught. Right now they have all the other bodies that they could possibly want. Also, if they hit all of those, they might be large enough for Shang-Chi to be able to take some revenge here. Interesting. Would I want Magic? Magic would give me more time to buff the Bishop and the Angela. Maybe I do, actually. We'll see what the opponent is able to combo together here. And again, if they buff their pieces too high, we got the blue marble. Waiting for the Enchantress here on our side to be able to shut them down. Shut them down and shut them up. I don't know if it's going to be able to come around. Come on. Come on. I've got 3 cards in deck. Give me the Enchantress. I need the Enchantress. I have the tech in deck to be able to destroy what they are running, but it's not getting drawn. Oh my gosh, final turn. Yes! Oh, baby. Yep, we already snapped. Throw up the bro fists.
Enchantress.
They play the Onslaught? I hope they didn't play the Onslaught. Is it the Patriot? If it's Patriot, it's still close. It's not close. It's not close. It was the Onslaught, the bricked Onslaught. Oh man. We had the answer to everything. Here's the deck list in all of its glory. I love this deck list, able to stay in every single matchup with answers to whatever the opponent's game plan might be. I think the biggest upgrade in Pool 3 is actually the magic. Giving us the turn 7 is so pivotal when we are waiting, we're lying in wait to see what our opponent does while we hold the answers to shut them up. And then just the high efficiency plays of the Bishop, the Mysterio, the Red Skull, allowing us to keep tempo with the opponent while we wait for our huge counterplay swings. Let me know in the comments how these decks serve you if you give them a try. Subscribe to the channel to be able to see our future Marvel Snap projects. We have a lot of stuff in the works. Can't wait to be able to show them to you guys. Till next time, thank you guys for watching and keep on snapping.